Hey everybody, it's Sinette, and we do it all here. What's up? Welcome to my foster care series, episode 5, entitled Courthouses. If you haven't already joined me for the last few videos, I recommend you stop and watch episodes 1 through 4. There's a lot of really good details in there, as well as I go over a lot of backstory. So thanks for joining me again. If you are a former foster youth, I want to say thank you for being here. I really appreciate you taking the time to hear me out and listen to my series. And if you're just a low-income kid or someone that wants to hear my story just in general, I appreciate you being here. If you don't mind giving me a like, a comment, or even a subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. And thank you again for joining me today. So let's get started. So I thought courthouses would be a great episode to start off with today because I feel like all of us have some sort of trauma attached to courthouses. So I thought we could go over that today in this episode. So to begin, I'm going to go over my experience, of course, in court, growing up in the courthouse, my life through court, where I am today, how that goes, where I am at as far as my feelings today. I want to kind of go over that as far as like healing, therapy, and just like closing notes for any former foster youth or maybe fosters that are going to currently be aging out as far as court goes. So stick around, and like I said, I really appreciate you being here today. So my experience with court, I would say, was definitely very traumatic for me. Like I said, I got taken when I was 9 months old, and I was constantly in the courthouse. I remember my first memory was, like I said, them walking me over to my mom after a session in court and telling me, like, oh, this is your mom. You're going to be going to visit with her. You know, you're going to be staying weekends, so on and so forth. My mom did have to go through a process of getting clean and going through different steps through the court in order to like get me there on weekends. I think I started going when I was pretty young, like maybe 3 or 4. I mean, I have a slight memory of it. And I can honestly say that's when I really started just getting really sick to my stomach about going to that place, because it started clicking to me like, oh, people in this building decide what is happening with me in my life, what I'm doing, what's going on with me. Like, these are really big decisions that are being left to these people and to this man, to this judge, you know what I mean? So it was a lot to process at the time. I would say when I went through the process of getting adopted, that's when it really started to hit me, because I wish that judges were just more in line and had more information. Like, they're really going off of such a glimpse of these people's lives, and they judge off something so minor sometimes. And through the whole process, like I said, they were trying to adopt me. My mom didn't want me to, so it was that whole battle process there, and that really was traumatic for me. So I really wanted to get adopted. The judge unfortunately awarded me back to my mother, and it was really horrible for me. It was traumatic in the sense of, like, at that moment in time, that's not what I wanted, but like I thought she was gonna like kill me if I didn't say in court that I wanted to live with my mother. So, I mean, like I said, the coercive abuse was just really intense at that time. So I just thought, like, if I want to be safe and like have my life, then I need to like pick her. So basically, like the night before court, um, she like literally beat the shit out of me almost. So I thought I was gonna die. But she did a couple times actually, like to the point where I thought like literally like choked out. I thought I was gonna like die. And I think that initial fear is like what kept me. People always ask, like, oh, why do abused people do this? Or why do people pick this or do these things? And it's like, really, because in our mind at the time, like, we think we're gonna die. Like, I don't know how else to like express that in words. Like I said, I don't like to go like super in depth, but I went through like very intense like abuse. Like I try to depict in the most like respectful way to my siblings and like people around me, but like it was very intense. So after I got awarded back, like I said, the court, I had a lot of animosity. I was like, how could you guys award us back to these people? Like, I just don't understand. Like, I had a lot of anger and hate towards the judges and towards the courts and everything. And, you know, like I said, it wasn't what I had expected it to be. And, you know, I just had all these memories in my head of court as I got out of the system, was getting the bears, you know, for the holidays, for Christmas. Just going through being a family of 5 kids in the system, you know, people constantly giving us stuff in court, people making comments all the time. The struggle of like me and my siblings being separated for a good part of our lives. That's a lot of pain and struggle that like I can't express to people, because maybe some people don't have siblings at all, or maybe some people don't get to be around them, but like you want to be around your siblings, you know, you miss them, you want to be, you know, around them, doing things with them. So that was a big part of the pain too, was that, oh, these people keep us separated, these people keep us apart. So that was basically my experience. Like I said, I grew up in the courthouses from 9 months till I was like 10 years old. So I was constantly in the courthouse. And I can personally say that that experience made me very sick to my stomach as I got older. Like I would get, I don't know if it was a panic attack, but I would get sick. Like literally I would have to go throw up. I'd get so sick to my stomach going into the courthouse. So transitioning to like when I got older, went through my divorce, had to go through court. It was a struggle for me, guys. That's when I was like, oh, I should start therapy, because this is going to be too much for me. So that was definitely a big life change. That's when it hit me that I had a lot of trauma that I needed to unpack from the courthouses and all my years of like being a slave to the people in the court that literally had no idea what my life was like, how I lived my life, or even really cared what would happen to me after they decided about me. And I think that's the hardest part about trying to get through the acceptance of the courthouse experience, is like accepting the fact that these people make decisions about your life that you can't take back or go back or change, and they can affect you for years to come. And honestly, I doubt they ever think about us ever again. I really do. I mean, with how many cases these people have, I highly doubt it. And that's the part that was so hard. Like, I did have a lot of animosity towards the judge, and the people in our case just was like, how could you guys not see this? Or, you know, there's so many things like that I could express, but that was the hardest part to get over for me. And I think going to, like I said, going to therapy and talking about it in therapy and being able to express how it made me feel, how it tensed my body up, how it made me have a panic attack, and like being able to work past that. Oh, that's my daughter's. All right, we will come back, but I just want to say to work past that and like really try to push my body through. Again, you guys, thank you for all the video pauses, because like I said, I'm a mom, I work, I run a business, I have a lot of stuff going on, so videos will be done in pauses. Okay, so I went over trauma from court, right? The trauma like possesses your body, okay? And you really don't realize it until you're in those moments, because I never had to go back to court until I went through my divorce. And when I walked through those doors and had to be around the judge and everybody, I was like starting to hyperventilate. Like, it just started bringing back so many things for me. And that's when I was like, I was like, I need therapy. I can't get through all of these things that I feel. And I'm going to go through everything in therapy when I do the therapy video. So I'm not going to like get too in depth on that, but I do always recommend therapy. for anybody that went through the system if you hadn't already gotten therapy. Because you know what? When you're young and you're going through everything, you might not really want to talk to people in that moment. And I'm not saying that that's right or wrong, because I understand you have a lot of anger and hate and emotion in you, and you might not want to talk about that type of stuff in depth. So I completely get it. You know what I mean? But what I am going to say is that if you don't try to handle that as young as you possibly can, you're going to spend so many years trying to figure out why your body is reacting to things that you're not even sure why your body's reacting to it. So anyway, wanted to preface the whole court thing with you guys going through my divorce. So after that whole experience, I realized that, I needed help. I needed to change the way that I process courtrooms, judges, lawyers, social workers, stuff like that, and just being in there. So I just want to talk to you guys real quick about that. It's okay if you feel many different things about court. Maybe it was your safe space. Maybe it was hell on earth for you, but we're all allowed to feel many different things for the courthouse and the courtroom. But I always thought this was such an interesting conversation that I really didn't hear too many former foster youth speak about, because whether it's because we don't like to talk about our past or we feel like nobody cares to listen, but I always wondered if other former foster youths felt the same in court or had felt the same in the courtroom as they've aged and gotten older and was in those situations. I've never done jury duty because I absolutely refuse to sit in the courthouse. Like, not that I'm saying I still have trauma, I just don't. It's this something in me about deciding somebody's fate. I just can't put myself in a position like that when I know absolutely nothing about the situation or the person, and people can give me as much evidence as they want. I still don't know enough, and I'll never know enough to make that sort of decision for somebody. So I don't believe in jury duty. I don't believe in the system of the jurors itself. And so I've never done jury duty. I am going to be 34 and I've never done jury duty. So I just thought I'd preface with that. I do everything in my power to get out of jury duty, whether that's moving counties, county hopping, putting in emergency circumstances. I do everything under the sun to avoid sitting in that courthouse. I will not do it. Anyway, so let's move on to healing courts today. I just want to say that I want this, like I said, I want these episodes to be an open place for discussion for you guys to talk about it. So please, in the comments, sound off. I want to know your experience. Did you guys get a court teddy bear? Like, I'm just curious. So I always felt like courtrooms, like I said, are such an interesting conversation to have, because I feel like everybody has a different perspective about the courtrooms and like what they brought to them and their experiences. So I would really love to hear that in the comments. And also, what I was going to add to that with the courtroom, with the lawyers and stuff. So social workers versus lawyers situation, just kind of curious, like how you guys might have experienced that. So sound off below. Okay, so moving forward to today. So like I said, I don't do jury duty, but I don't mind being in a courtroom. I can go in there, I can talk to a judge. I don't have any physical body meltdowns or anything like that. So it's definitely something I've worked on. But I think when you grow up in court, and I think when you have to report to a bunch of people in your life and people making decisions on your life, it really changed my outlook on the future. And it really changed my perspective on society in America. Like, all these people know absolutely nothing about what goes on at home, and yet all of them are going to tell me what they think is best for me. And I think that's the hardest part about foster care and the system and the courts and the judges and the lawyers and everybody just thinking they know best. And I wish there was a better situation, but back then it was different, you guys. Back then they let the kids decide a little bit, give an opinion of what they wanted to be, where they wanted to go. And, you know, they just don't do that anymore. And like I said, they used to do home visits. They don't really do that anymore. Everything was so different back then. And I get so like, I just get so saddened and sickened now to think that no one's checking in on these kids and no one's looking in on them. And, you know, that's why I wanted to create this channel and create this series just for an open communication, offer my mentorship, like I said, and then just start my bundles again to get back in there and, you know, just being an open ear to listen to as many of you as I possibly can in the time that I have available. Okay. So, like I said, I appreciate you guys being here today for episode 5 in my foster care series titled Courthouses. I thought that that would be a great topic to go over today about my experience in growing up in the courtrooms, growing up in the courthouses, and growing up around judges and everything like that. And I thought it'd be a great, fun experience for everybody to talk about. You know, like I said, I just want this to be a safe space for us to have discussions, to have conversations about being in foster care, and to just push forward that perpetual like giving. Like I said, and I'm going to keep saying, I only made it out because of everybody around me, helping me, giving me their time, effort, money to get me where I needed to go. And if I didn't sit here and try to do the same, then, you know, it would just be a real disservice to everybody. So like I said, that's why I'm here. Like I said, you can message me, comment, subscribe. You can even write on my community chat. If you guys have a foster care topic that you guys would like to go over, I might give a little spill in these videos and let you guys know what the next week's going to be about. I don't know yet, so let me know. But I was thinking about taking you guys outside next week because next week's topics is going to be pretty nice. As well as I was thinking of doing a field trip foster care video with you guys where I travel, show you guys where we first got taken away, where my mom went to jail, all that stuff, or what cities we lived in, the houses. I thought that would be really fun, you know, because we've moved every couple years. So, I mean, I have so many stories. I can't wait to deep dive into all that with you guys, all the homes that my brothers were in or that I was in. And when we finally started living back together as siblings. So I'm going to definitely be going over all that. Like I said, my experience with court might be completely different than my brother's experience with court. Like I said, I was in the system the longest out of all my siblings because I was trying, well, they were trying to adopt me. So there's a lot of other situations like that. But like I said, thank you guys so much for joining me today. And again, my name's Sinette, and we do it all here. What's up?